time for the Albion Mag Radio Show. Well, a bit last minute, but we're in the studio. Dean Kilford, Leon Cox? Hello, Louis. Leon Cox in the studio. Big thank you to our friends at Jalapeno Records, of course, providing us with the tunes throughout the show. We're here. It's the start of the season. We're very excited. We're too busy talking about it and then realised the time. We're in the studio now. How are you feeling, Leon?
Yeah, I'm excited, of course, but also with the usual caveats of fear.
Don't start bringing the caveats on the first day of the season. Oh, no, of course. I
can't just be an endless ray of sunshine like Mr. Serotonin over there in Kilford. I have to measure all my experiences in life through the filter of terrible, crushing anxiety. And in this case, that's losing to Watford on the first day, everyone panicking, and us being in a relegation fight. But I don't really feel like that. That's just there.
You're just putting that across, just to
No, overall, I'm excited, but.
So we've put a poll up on our Twitter feed. I just last minute one. It finishes in about 25 minutes. Where you think we'll finish the end of the season? Just a little bit of fun. I've picked very broad scopes: top 4, 5th to 10th, so top half of the table, not top 4, 11th to 17th, safety, or bottom 3. As it stands, no one's put bottom 3 yet, so no one's as pessimistic as you're proclaiming to be right now, Leon.
No, well,
I
think that's to think that we can't be relegated is folly. We definitely could be, but
oh, what an optimistic start to the show! No, we'll be talking. Of course, we'll look a bit more in depth about the signings. More new signings. I was covering the under-23 Sussex Community Shield game, and I was chatting to a couple of the media members at Albion, and they were telling me, expect maybe 1 or 2 to go. That's what they told me. Right. Not 2 more coming in.
No. I've never known anything like it. Obviously, nobody has. It's unprecedented in the history of the Brighton and Hove Albion Football Club. The amount of money we've spent, the amount of players we've brought in. But
even in context of looking at other teams' recruitment,
yes,
it's far above and beyond. I know we've recruited at different levels for, we actively recruit for the under-23s for the future, which is really important actually.
Like Percy Tau, the biggest signing in the history of football, according to many of his followers from South Africa.
Absolutely.
He won't be playing for us this season.
No.
He will be playing. I guess is to be decided.
It's not out on loan yet.
To be honest, the new transfer window crept up on me. We talked about it last season, saying wouldn't it be better if the transfer window shut before the season started? I didn't realise they brought that in.
Did you not? Oh, okay. That's why we were talking so much about transfers last week.
I was thinking we still had a few weeks to go, but no, it's done and dusted.
It's done and dusted.
I'm pleased.
Apart from, of course, all of those European clubs that could come along and poach. Like Barcelona could come and get gross of us if they.
There is that, yes. Yeah, I forgot that that's right, because we did have a similar situation last year where the windows were staggered.
There's like a week.
January?
No, it was it was the sort of 2 weeks after. It must be 2 weeks after, because the Coutinho Liverpool to Barcelona situation happened. Yeah. Which it's going to be. I don't imagine it would affect us. I don't want to think that I'd love to think our players are going to be wanted by the European big guns, but we're probably not quite at that level yet where we have to be fearful of if Modric does go to Inter Milan, that Real Madrid will come calling for Izquierdo or. I'm not laughing. I'm just happy about the start of the season.
Jonathan Woodgate went to Real Madrid.
Jonathan Woodgate did go to Real Madrid and didn't play many minutes, got sent off a few times, and drunk a lot, apparently. We're going to have a little look through our thoughts on the season ahead. Of course, we'll preview the Watford game. And we've got, obviously, news on the women's and the under-23s who have been in action 3 times this past week. And, of course, non-league starts today for the Bostik Premier League. So we've got 5 teams in that. And it's the start of the FA Cup! If it wasn't a big enough day, it's the start of the FA Cup. My favourite competition.
Well, it seems late, given that the Champions League and the Europa League started like a month ago.
It's a week later than previous years.
Okay.
read into that what you will. But
Local in it,
so Lancing, Shoreham, they're all involved from that level, Southern Combination level down. They're all involved. So yeah, FA Cup starts. So
Magic.
we'll start. Where are we going to start? We're going to start. I'll tell you, we'll start with the Injustice League. That's where we're going to start. So a little bit of news that filtered through. It was Tuesday, I think maybe, came through. An independent panel went through last season reviewing unjust calls and wrong decisions and found out that Albion were one of the unluckiest teams of last season.
Not as unlucky as Liverpool, though, apparently, who were the unluckiest team.
They were the unluckiest team, except it wouldn't really... I suppose it would have affected them. They'd have finished 2 places higher in the league. It made the most difference to us. 6 places that cost us.
Yeah, 6 points better off. Possibly an extra £11.5 million.
Yeah, 9th place finish we'd have.
Yeah,
those extra
and that would
points.
have been our greatest ever season. But I don't know. What can you do there? I suppose if anyone had run this study on our previous season, maybe we would have not gone up or something.
Potentially, they say it swings around about. It's just quite interesting to, I don't know what the criteria is. I guess it's easy for things like an unjust penalty or but
maybe it's all the things that it would have gone to VAR had we had it.
What about a player? Just a player may or may not have been sent off. Would that affect the result of a game? It's hard to quantify that, isn't it?
You can't actually quantify much of it. Unlucky things, I suppose. Like, really, we use the word unlucky a lot in football. Like, he's hit the post, that's unlucky. It's not. He's hit it slightly off target. It's like
shanked it. That's what you're saying.
On one level, it's unlucky, but on another, like something that would be really unlucky would be a ball is flying towards a top corner and then a goal swoops down and stops it from going in. That would be unlucky.
Why haven't we trained our seagulls to do that?
That's a good point.
There's enough of them.
Yeah, is that what they do at Selhurst? They get the eagle to swoop down and pluck the ball out of the air. That's how they stayed up.
We're too busy training them to nick chips off tourists. That's what we're...
I don't think they need training to do that.
That's because we've done such a good job.
We have.
Yes. So that's the first bit of news. Second bit of news, squad numbers were announced. Any big surprises for you there?
No major surprises, but I suppose there was somebody saying that somebody went to get their shirt printed, and I don't know if they were joking, but the staff there said the players are still arguing about it. So I don't know if there was any genuine behind the scenes stuff. The only one that I think maybe Tom Ahmed giving up his number 10 shirt for Andone, but nobody else seems to have been sort of obviously bumped down the pecking order. Is that right?
No, there's, you've got, for your 1 to 11, Kyle's kept the number 7 shirt, which may be a bit surprising, maybe, given the players coming in.
It's well established, isn't it? I think some players don't care about it. Some players have it written in their contract. I doubt we've signed too many of the kinds of people who can actually fully dictate, but maybe Andone did demand, or his agent demanded a starting number shirt. I don't know.
Is that why he didn't join last summer?
Yeah, possibly so, yeah. Sorry, Thomas not giving up his 10.
But yeah, other than that, all looking good. So, 2 players coming in on transfer deadline day.
Yeah.
According to some, the signing of Montoya, right, another fullback. We seem to have... I don't know why we've got quite so many fullbacks in our squad, but... 3
on each side now.
He's the most decorated player we've ever signed.
Yes, Champions League and 3 La Ligas, is it, or something?
It's Ligas and the Italian Coppa del... Has he run the Italian League?
Okay.
The Coppa del... He's done all right.
Yeah, I mean, it's extraordinary that we're signing players like Montoya at the peak of his, he's 27 years old.
I mean, admittedly, he was in the reserve squads last year, but still, yeah. No,
I don't know how this works for the 25-man squad, and you have to have a certain number of homegrown players in it. Maybe that's why we signed Dan Burn, the large English centre half. We signed kind of 2 defenders on deadline day. Very different kind of vibe about them. You've got the lower. Spent many years in the lower leagues, including the Championship of English football, 6'7" centre half, and then you've got the.
Well, he's been loaned straight back though to Hasn't he been loaned straight back?
Oh, has
Did
he?
I read that? I've learned that I'm sure, and
can't
if
keep
anyone's listening, correct me if I'm wrong, he was loaned straight back, and we're due to get him in January.
Oh, okay. So he won't be part of the 25.
No.
Right. My mistake.
I believe. I could be wrong, and if I am, do
confusing these
correct.
days.
Yeah, signing players just to loan them
I
back
know.
out. Why not? Why not? But yeah, you're right. Two completely different contrasting. Does it when you look at the defence? Because we've signed a lot of defensive players. We're well stacked in that. How are you going to keep everyone happy? How's that going to? Is it going to be a lot more rotation than normal? But surely, from a defensive point of view, certainly from Houghton's point of view, I'm saying all sorts of wrong words today. I do. He likes stability and continuity at the back. So this is either going to upset a lot of people or there's going to be a lot more rotation.
I wonder if two of them may go out on loan. So we got Suttner and Charlotto probably relegated to third choice in each of their positions. Obviously, it's good to have backup and options. But yeah, as you say, how are we going to keep them all happy?
Or maybe that does mean that Bruno is going to see, understandably potentially, a lot less game time.
Maybe so.
Hence, we've got, Montoya in for with Charlotto in that right back area.
Could be.
Potentially, I don't know. Honestly, it's a bit of a mystery. I mean, it's not an area of the pitch I thought we'd be signing someone.
I don't think anyone was expecting it, were they?
No.
I don't think anyone said, oh yeah, and we're obviously bringing in
another right back
who's represented Spain at many levels, almost 50 times.
Or is it? Or have we got a team to compete for the cups? For the domestic cups, is that something potentially looking at an avenue in a way that actually we could win something?
I'd like to say yes, but I still feel that Houghton's job. He was asked directly, wasn't he, the other day about would you take 17th kind of question, and he said that's my number one job.
He said he owes it to, I'll paraphrase this slightly,
sure.
He owes it to the fans and to this great club to make sure we have Premier League football next season.
That's right.
The ambition is to obviously better last season, but if it came to it and finished 17th, then I've done my job. It wasn't that exact phrase, obviously,
no, sure.
but that's the sentiment of what he said.
Yeah.
He said, obviously, I don't want to finish 17th, I want to finish higher than 15th, but if it is, I'll take it because we're still in the Premier League.
Of course, the problem with, obviously it's part of the magic of football, and obviously having the three concurrent domestic competitions is one of the things that we love about English football. But the fact that they all happen concurrently means that you can't take that risk with the Premier League being worth so much more than winning a cup. You can't gamble. It's like if we knew we were safe when the League Cup started, then it would be a very different proposition.
I thought about it. This is a random thought. I'm going to go off topic here. What about if there was a week set aside or 2 weeks set aside where the League Cup was played?
So you treated it like a tournament.
So you treat it like a tournament.
Like an international style.
I
have a feeling this has been mooted in the past, like many years ago, to get around fixture congestion and things. I'm sure there are reasons. I'm sure there are very good reasons that listeners are going, well, obviously you can't do it for that reason, but it sounds like quite a good idea to me.
Because if you thought about this, if you actually started the leagues slightly later, you probably wouldn't work for the Championship. Just thinking about it,
it would still be too many games, though, wouldn't it? Because you'd be playing like a game.
No, but it would take. I'm trying to think that it would take part at the start of the season,
right? And
it would almost be like the pre-season. Your pre-season tournaments, you can win something for next season right before this season even begins.
You would, if they invited you into the FA, you'd be flipping the tables upside down, wouldn't you?
Oh, absolutely. Let's get some excitement going. I'd add more competitions. There'd be competitions everywhere.
Oh, no. More cups. Yeah.
No, there's enough cups.
Devalue all the cups.
No, just throwing it out there because unlike the FA Cup with the League Cup, there are 96 teams that enter every year. That's
yeah. So you're almost suggesting that this extra depth, another level of strength in depth for Brighton this season, is so that when we put a team out in the League Cup that isn't the first choice team, it's stronger than than last season's equivalent, with a view to actually, thinking about all the things that go with winning a cup. Obviously, Bloom would just love it from a lifelong fan's point of view, but also from the chief executive's perspective, there would be a certain amount of cachet in merchandising on the back of a domestic cup win.
But you think only 3 teams can win a trophy?
Yes.
And as much as people and teams seem to devalue the FA Cup and the League Cup, still at the end of the day, when you look at the record books, it still says they've won a trophy that season. Whatever you think about it, the Leicesters and Middlesbroughs during the early 2000s, who treated the League Cup really seriously and won a few competitions themselves, in the history books, they've won that competition.
Yeah, for sure. And Mourinho's always taken the League Cup very seriously as a pot. Get one in the
trophy. Yeah, get one in the.
Off you go. But yeah, no. Obviously, we're going to say it every year until it happens, and we were saying it in the Championship because why not? We could have gone. Well, who knows where we could have gone, but. A cup run and to get to a final or to win a cup would be something off the bucket list, because we came close. We got a replay in '83, and that's the best we've ever done. We got a League Cup quarter final for the first time.
And we're still talking about it.
Yes, well,
See, there you go.
But I mean, if England's anything to go by, it'd be another. I mean, I know we actually won that one, but 52 years. Who knows? It would be nice to. Yeah, it would be nice, as I say, to not to denigrate anything that any of the past Albion sides have achieved, but to finish 12th and to get to another cup final, so that we had something in our lifetimes. I mean, not our, but our kids' lifetimes, really.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree. Moving back on topic, though, we'll switch back to the signings, because we were going to sort of look a little bit more in depth. The one that seems to divide opinion now, but everyone was very excited at first, but now I've read a few discerning comments about how he didn't really perform in the World Cup. Jahan Baksh, something
like that. Ali Reza.
Ali, yeah, that'll do. Our own Ali. I've just seen. It's just been in the last couple of weeks that I've seen fans
dissenting voices
already. Of course, I know you get that in any fan base.
I've seen some astonishing comments, like another load of rubbish I've never heard of kind of quotes. It's like, well, just because you've never heard of them. But anyway, I think I mentioned that last week as well.
But he's got a good career, and he's a very good player. He's just trying to going through the notes.
24 years old.
There you go.
41 caps for Iran, 4 goals. Yes, he didn't set the World Cup on fire for Iran, but then you wouldn't necessarily expect him to have done. I know he comes with quite a reputation for having created a lot of chances and scored some goals in the Dutch league with Alkmaar, and we paid a hitherto unprecedented amount of money for him, 90 million euros or thereabouts. But again, compared to some of the other signings that are being made, I think Richarlison from Watford to Everton is at least 2 or 3 times that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a ridiculous amount of money they've paid for. I mean, a good player.
Yeah, sure.
But I think potentially they could be similar players. Well, we'll find out in the coming weeks.
If Jahan Baksh could be more consistent than Richarlison, for instance, that would be another steal and another brilliant piece of recruitment. But I know, obviously, we're bought him from the Dutch league, and we're doing very well at getting better prices by buying from places like Holland and Germany, compared to buying domestically for the most part. But I think, because again, it's all relative to what we're used to. So we sign a player for 20 million euros or whatever, and of course it seems extraordinary, but on the current market, doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be a footballer that is, it's not going to be Messi, is it? He's going to be another very good, high quality.
He's a good technically skilled player,
but not necessarily. He's not going to, revolutionise the game of football. There's a lot of expectation, I think, from fans when we make these big signings. I understand. I'm sort of understanding more now that whole, the price tag weighs heavy on some players, because the fans do expect a certain amount based on the money that you've spent. They can only do what they can do.
Well, absolutely, and it's sort of a little bit unfair on the player in some respects, because they don't choose the price they go for. No. But you're right. I suppose in that instance, that a price, if you pay 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 million pounds on a player, if you spend 50 million pounds on a player, you'd expect them to be, you expect them to win games single-handedly for you.
But that's not really
the case, is it?
No, it's not. No, a 20 million euro player is kind of, par for the course. So he should be a very strong addition to our squad. But we're paying. Obviously, we paid $1 million odd, whatever it was, for Knockout, hence the song. He's paid that back, many times over, and he'd be worth a good deal more than that now. But Jahanbakhsh is, paying that price is to do with where we've got to. It's not purely about the quality of the player. It's about the league that you're in and market values and all this stuff. But I hope he absolutely rips it up and he, transforms our season from lower mid-table to upper mid-table, and maybe in 3 years' time we sell him on for 80 million or something.
Is he a starter for you?
Well, this is another position where we were already stocked in this position. We've got competition. I don't think he is going to start. I think Houghton's. I don't know. Sometimes he surprises you, but there seems to be the feeling that based on the Nantes starting 11 and Houghton's sort of rep, that today's 11 will be something really quite similar, with perhaps just one or maybe two changes compared to last season. Probably the left back.
Assume who's we're going to get out to next.
Yeah.
So obviously Esquerdo's. I know we'll get into the team news later, but he's out today.
Yeah.
Those two, in just the bits I've seen, they look fairly similar, quite direct players. Jahanbakhsh looks quite direct, gets on the ball, wants to run. Those are the bits that I've seen. But except he crosses rather than cuts in and shoots all the time.
Yeah, I don't think he's quite as fast, but I think he looks, from what I've seen, it looks like he looks to cut defences early with sort of crosses from deep. It doesn't look like necessarily a get to the byline and turn the fullbacks kind of player, so much as a make sort of passes from actually in front of the defence and try to cut through them. Sometimes lofted, sometimes on the ground, as you would hope.
So let's speak about the left back, who we do think might potentially start. Bernardo.
Yeah.
The Brazilian.
Yes, a Brazilian. It's happened. Remember when Newcastle United signed Mirandinha back in the 80s?
Football knowledge.
And it was so exotic, the idea of a Brazilian footballer. I'm not sure he was even an international, or if he was only a very sporadic Brazilian international, if that. But he was a Brazilian footballer playing in the English league, and it was wow, can't believe this. Now it's taken us to 2018 to sign our first Brazilian, but yeah, he looks good. He looked good against Nantes. Obviously, just one game against mid-table French side, but yeah, he looked fast. He looked to go forward, but not just making runs, supporting the ongoing movement of the team. There were a couple of times he took his own initiative, made a run from deep, made an attacker's run. And I don't know whether this is strategic or whether we've signed a player because it means he can do that. He actually, there was one point I particularly remember where he just cut a beeline from his left back berth to sort of the top of the D in the penalty area, right, to try to get to get onside, to get a through pass from the left flank. So if that's something that he's going to be allowed to do in...
Well, he's come from Leipzig, who were a very good team. They play a very pressing, attackive style where they look to get the ball forward quickly when they win it. So that doesn't surprise me. And I suppose the difference between... He's played in the German league and played for a team that were challenging for the European places. Yeah. They fell away just towards the end of the season. And the only reason why that's significant is because I think Liverpool ended up paying less money for is it Keita? Anyway, whoever Liverpool signed from them, they ended up paying less money because they finished a place lower in the league than they would have done. But the way they play, and they use their fullbacks in an attacking way, very similar to I suppose how we see we see or saw England play with pushing the wing back full-back style,
bringing back the Roy Evans 90s Liverpool style when that was. I mean, it all goes
the swings and roundabouts,
all goes in cycles, doesn't it? But if you sign a Brazilian fullback, history tells you that it's probably as much about them being augmenting the attack as it is about them being a defender. But as I say, against Nantes, I said this last week, but he made one or two really excellent, like full-blooded tackles where he went to ground but came away standing up with the ball. And lots to be encouraged about. I hope he's as good as I think he might be.
The new Roberto Carlos, maybe.
Yeah, just don't let him anywhere near the free kicks. Then
do let him near.
No, he'll score one, and then he'll be taking them for the next 20 years with no luck whatsoever.
So obviously, so many signs to go through. We're going to run out of time, but Basuma, let's quickly from Lille. So. Obviously, Malian was born in the Ivory Coast. 15 caps, 3 goals.
Yeah, good return.
Another good stuff, but described as the Malian Pogba.
Yeah, 21 years old, so even younger than Pogba. Another 17 million euros or thereabouts spent. He says that obviously he's going to be flattered by comparisons to Pogba. He says Pogba's a great player, but we don't have the same style of play. He says, I don't.
So where are those comparisons coming from? Maybe. Don't know.
Yeah, just they both speak French.
There we are.
That's it.
That'll do.
He says, I don't take myself as someone I'm not. I admire Paul Pogba, but I am Yves Bissouma. Simple as that.
Simple, understated.
Talks about himself in the third person, but we'll let him off because he's operating in his at least probably his second language.
Yes, but high hopes for him. You obviously saw a bit of him.
Yeah, I'm not sure he touched the ball against Nantes. If he did, it was one simple layoff or something, I think. Apologies if I missed anything. But again, I trust the recruitment team. So even players that rather than jumping on Facebook and going, I've never heard of him, he's rubbish, I just think, hang on, all the players we've signed in the last 2 years have been almost uniformly excellent.
But again, signed from another good club. So Lille, a good club in the French league. It's not like we're picking players from the French second division or the.
No, we're looking for players who haven't necessarily made headlines, but have been just performing excellently for their clubs.
Or just not made headlines in our league.
Yeah,
in our media, whereas in their leagues, look at Pascal Gross last season. He was well renowned for his assists the season before, and then just brought that over.
But yes, this sort of I've never heard of them thing, and in some cases I'll completely admit, they're not players I'm intimate. I might have seen them come up on FIFA or whatever, but I haven't thought, he must sign him. But it's because they're, like you say, it's because they're not playing in the Champions League, sometimes not even in the Europa League. But that doesn't mean they're worthless players. No. It just means they haven't been at the club that that's got them there yet. So I'm excited. If the Pogba comparisons are anything to go by, then definitely.
Quick, the last one we'll really cover. We'll Andone. We've spoken about his fight with Hemed for the number 10 shirt, maybe. Although I tell you a quick thing about him, he's got a relegation release clause. I don't like that.
Is he? Do you know if he's our only player with a relegation release?
I don't know if he is, but that's just something that's become public knowledge.
Because maybe when players like Dunk re-sign a new contract like they have, and Knockout, maybe that's one of the things that's going in. It wouldn't surprise me.
Potentially, but that for me is it's like going into
a mission of defeat.
It's like going into a marriage with the prenuptials. Like, well, if you need to sign a prenuptials, you shouldn't be marrying the person.
Well, it's a bit different to that. Like,
but you know what I'm saying. In all intents and purposes, you're saying, I'm sure we'll be all right, but just in case it doesn't, it's like, if you believe in wanting to sign for this club, you believe this club's going to go places. Yeah. You don't need to worry about that.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. I wouldn't like it. I definitely err on the side of win bonuses, goal bonuses, all that good stuff, and say, look, if you're that good, if we're that good,
you're going to earn your
money that way. Yeah.
All right. Anyway, but I'm sure he'll score a lot of goals when he's fit. Balogun is the last one we'll talk about. The Nigerian, German. Another sign from the German league. Free transfer, this one. Another tool with a lot of height, but obviously another young player to mould.
No, he's 30, Balogun.
Oh, sorry, I misread that.
He's not quite the youngest. I think he's more of an experienced backup. Although, I mean, the fact that he's 30, he's only got a mere 22 international caps. But again, German league, lots of experience, big fella. We were saying last week that, as you understand it, he's happier playing part of a 3.
Yes.
So whether that's actually with a view, or whether he'll be quite happy playing as a 2, and this is for when Dunk or Duffy is injured or suspended, or
for those games if we do change formation.
Yeah.
Which we spoke about, only toyed last week. We toyed it one game, which didn't. This is the thing where obviously result-wise it didn't work out, but performance-wise it probably did.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll try it again. We got Liverpool away a few weeks, and
we start with Man United at home, don't we? Next home, so I can't see us playing that away.
We know we can.
We know we can beat them.
We know we can beat them.
We'll get to that next week. All right, we're just about closing in the Twitter poll. We want to know your thoughts, where you think we'll finish roughly in the league next year. Head over to Twitter for that at TM Radio Show. It's time now to play a first song from our friends Jalapeno Records. This is Crack and Smack with Breakdown. Crack and Smack with Breakdown Suites. You're listening to the Albion Mag radio show on 1BTN, available online, DAB, digital and 101.4 FM. Thank you to our friends at Jalapeno Records for supplying that tune and every tune we play here on the show. Dean Kilford, Leon Cox here, talking about transfers and the latest news before that song. We're going to move on to our Watford preview, and we'll bring you the results of our end of season table prediction thing.
About 15 minutes.
15 minutes, is that how long's left?
According to Twitter.
Good. I knew I timed it to finish during the show.
Genius.
So that's the Watford's away. This cast my mind back September last year.
Yeah.
I think this might have been the first show we did together, is previewing this very game.
Could be. I couldn't swear to it, but
I wouldn't swear to it. But it was around about this time. Around about that time last season. 0-0 draw. I think we'll just remember the red card, that shocking challenge.
Yeah, Miguel Britos' in moment of madness where he came flying at knockout from yards away, 4 feet off the ground.
Just a shocking challenge.
It was a real moment of madness. I don't know if he did anything like that throughout the rest of the season. I doubt he did. I think it was just one of those weird aberrations. Maybe he's filth.
Do you think, I'm now looking back at it, if that game and that incident had happened later on in the season, we'd have had a go. Whereas I don't think at the stage of the season, us being you, we were still more about protecting our goal than necessarily scoring. I'm not saying that we didn't want to win a game, but just trying to think back now, a year on.
I think we did have a go from what I remember. Paul came in, our friend Paul Druitt came in and was saying, but I think you're right. I think at that stage we were still very much, we hadn't got a point. It was we were looking at getting off the ground, up and running with a goal. We didn't get a goal. But we did get our first point, and I think that was a great example of a team, finding its feet. So, maybe so. Watford are no mugs, are they? I mean, they're not. I heard I was listening to the Totally Football Show podcast on the way here, and one of the panel was a Wolves fan who's very excited about the upcoming season. But he said, well, we could finish 8th, and presenter James Richardson said, what's your rationale behind that? And he said, well, there are 14 really ordinary teams in the Premier League. And my initial feeling was to bristle, but then I thought, actually, if I try to look at this as objectively as I can, there isn't much to separate the teams. Once you go outside the top 6, there is cigarette paper differences between, and any of them could finish anywhere. You could throw all the names of the teams up in the air and they could land.
Well, do you not think though, because some clubs have recruited very well this summer?
Well,
so you look at your West Hams, your Everton, of course ourselves, Wolves, Fulham have also strengthened quite well. So,
but it's very hard to call
at this stage. But time will potentially separate that second. That I don't want to say there's leagues within leagues, but there could potentially be a mini second league. Maybe the top 6 won't be so. You just don't. There hasn't been much change apart from Liverpool. Man United signed a couple of players. Fred looks like he's a red card waiting to happen after what I saw yesterday. Right. They were praising his passion, but I saw a lot of off the ball challenges that will result in red card, I'm pretty sure. But he looks very committed. Man City have signed Mahrez, obviously, another player that fits in that hunt. We think we've got problems in. I mean, they've got problems in who to fit where. Liverpool obviously strengthened. Tottenham haven't signed anyone. Arsenal got a new manager. Chelsea got a new manager, and we know historically with Chelsea, when they get a new manager, it could go either way. So potentially could be a bit more level apart from maybe Liverpool and Man City.
Yeah.
Who knows? It's the start of the season.
We really don't know. That is the thing. But I can games like this, you could either say, well, it's just there's no calling games like this, is there?
Well, Watford finished a point above us.
Yeah, exactly.
Last season, we obviously beat them at the Amex towards the end of last season.
One omen: Watford have never won their opening fixture in the Premier League. So that's something. But
all right. I'll do the pessimistic one then. In the Albion are on the longest run without a win
in their opening game.
of any of the top flight, just in the current runs.
Oh, okay, yeah, because
current runs.
Yeah. But that was very much to do with the fixtures that we had towards the end of
It's just that's still the stat.
Still the stat. It is.
And stats don't lie. But yes, we also don't have a great record on the opening day of the season either. But I've got read here. Watford are still unbeaten in 11 season opening games since losing against Everton in 2006. So although they haven't won, they just draw.
Yeah.
Essentially, they draw a lot of games.
Well, I mean, that seems as good a shout as any for today's game. But
what with so will this throw some other bits in there? Albion only scored 10 away goals, league low record along with West Brom.
Yeah, that was disappointing. Of all the wonderful things that happened last season, the fact that we hardly managed, and 3 of those came in one game at West Ham as well.
Yeah.
So that was 7 goals in the other 18 games. 18 games, sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
So again, as I said at the end of last season, fair play to our hardy travelling fans who go to nearly all the away games.
Yeah, and went 2 of them at Stoke.
Yeah,
so they saw half the goals were scored in 2 games.
Yeah.
Wow.
But we've signed all these players.
We have signed all these players
with a view to improving on these things.
And of course, we don't know. Pre-season hasn't necessarily been our friends in terms of results, but in terms of getting play, I know obviously won the last time out pre-season. We touched upon this last week. Does that have any effect for you? Does it not? Does it? I
don't think it was terribly negative. It wasn't terribly positive either. We kept 1 clean sheet. I think we only scored 2 goals once. Things like that don't bode that well. But we didn't lose a lot either. It was a lot of 1-1s and things like that. So Houghton was playing around with the squad. People were getting back to fitness. As we said, Bruno was saying that the players have been working harder than usual with a view to playing a more pressing game this season. So. I don't think it bodes poorly for us, but I don't necessarily expect us to get off to a flyer today.
Well, the history between the two clubs, last 3 games have reduced a whole 3 goals.
Yeah.
Yep. So there was 0-0 obviously theirs last week. It was 1-0 at the Amex and then it was a 1-1 draw. A previous meeting, which was. Wait, I'm trying to think.
Can't even remember
back when now. Watford's only defeat came in the last 7 against the Albion. Was that game back in December at the Amex?
Yeah.
And this will be just the 5th top flight meeting between the two clubs. 1 win apiece and 3 draws.
Yeah. I mean...
No, 1 win and 2 draws. This.
Yes. How do you even... I mean, there's just... I can't... I'd love to be that much of an analyst to be able to say, well, this is the tactical reason why one team or the other will get the. But I don't. I would challenge even the most analytical, the Jonathan Wilsons and of this world to actually sort of pick these 2 teams apart and say there's a definitive winner here because of this and this and this reason. Because hopefully. The managers actually, hopefully Houghton knows what it is, but I think it's going to be tight. Maximum we'll see, I think, is like a 2-0 or something like that to either side.
I don't see either team scoring 2 goals, if I'm honest.
Yeah. Today,
I think they are 2 very even teams. Watford are a Jekyll and Hyde team every single year. Since they've returned to the Premier League, they seem to start the season. Obviously, not the first game of the season, but. Generally start the season very well
get
and
themselves safe by
Christmas and then fall away, and that's been the same pattern, and they've changed their manager more times than most. It's a
Seems
strange
to work for them in the sense that they're kind of where we're looking to be next in our club's rise, which is to be established. But I don't know whether I still wouldn't call
I suppose technically they are, but I don't know. You
wouldn't say they're definitely safe at any point.
Absolutely.
But that's what I was saying about us at the start of the show, and you're like, don't be pessimistic.
Well, it's just because it was this new season. I get excited. Obviously, the Premier League has kicked off. Man United is scraping through a 2-1 victory last night against Leicester. Leicester looked good in possession. They sort of caused problems without creating any chances, which I know sort of Vardy came on a sub, and I think we're going to see a lot of that in these opening couple of weeks, where the World Cup players that went further on are not going to play so much in the game. Lukaku came on late for Man United. He didn't look on the... I mean, he missed a gilt-edged chance as well to seal it. But, sorry, the whole point of it was that sort of Man United found a way to win, which is against adversity, which I suppose is the difference between those clubs, whereas clubs like us, that's where we want to be in finding ways to win, where at this stage of the season, this is where you pick up the points to potentially survive, or, can help. If like Huddersfield picked up 9 points in the first 4 or 5 games, without those 9 points, they would...
Yeah, we got off to a much slower start. Our sort of peak era was sort of throughout the middle core of the season, whereas at the start and the end we didn't get so many points.
At the end you can sort of put down to the fixture schedule, but the start of the season, it's just a fast start and a good start obviously can have a massive impact on our league and where we
fabulous. Yeah, but I would love it if we got off to a winning start. It would be so nice to be sitting, even if ultimately that first, the league table doesn't really mean anything until they never even used to print it until it was at least 3 or 4 games in minimum. Now, obviously, the stats are all updating automatically, and there's a league table now with Manchester United top, Leicester bottom, and everyone else in alphabetical order. That exists.
That exists, yes.
And we're currently in the top 4 or whatever. So
there we are.
Let's finish the season right now.
And definitely, yes, I was going to say definitely still be in top 4 after the lunchtime game, but no, that won't be the case. Predictions, because you said analysts, you don't know how you can predict them. Well, some of them do, because that's their job.
I don't class these people as analysts. These are TV pundits, former pros, which,
Jeff Stelling's a journalist.
He's a journalist, I suppose. Broadcast
journalist.
Yes. Anyway, he says 2-2, which seems, unlikely, high scoring. Paul Merson, who's by all accounts a very nice man, says 1-1. Charlie Nicholas, Phil Thompson and Mark Lawrenson over on the BBC all predict 1-0 wins for Watford, which doesn't sound terribly unlikely. Former in-betweeners actor and Spurs fan Joe Thomas has gone for 5-0 to Watford. I don't know.
I didn't see the rest of his predictions, but I'm guessing there's some tongue-in-cheek, and
I'm not sure.
But that is definitely what the prediction was. But
I mean, maybe he's a soothsayer, some kind of foresight genius, and he's gonna go home having bet on that with a lot of money. But I don't see us losing 5-0.
Your thoughts?
I've said repeatedly, I've tried to sit on the fence here, and I want to say 0-0 again, but I don't want to say 1-0 to Watford. I know you're gonna go for something.
I'm not going for anything crazy. I've got a prediction. I've got a genuine prediction.
You go.
I've got 1-1. I think it's got 1-1 or 0-0 written all over it. I just actually think that I think both teams will make a mistake today playing newish systems, and so I see there being a goal for either team. 1-0.
Compelling argument.
And you still need to come up with something.
Okay, I'm going 2-1 Watford.
2-1 Watford, there we are. Even though earlier you said you don't see other... Oh, no, it was me that said don't see other teams scoring 2 goals.
He's on a lot of medication, folks.
I am, yes. For those of you listening, in the past week and a half, I've been bitten by a dog, and I've managed to drill a hole in my foot. This has put me on a lot of medication and a lot of pain. So...
Yeah. You know he's on medication when he's even higher on seemingly higher on life than usual. Is actually the drugs kicking in. But yeah, he's got a hole in his foot.
Yep, there we are.
The genius.
I'm not going to put it up.
DIY genius. Don't get him round to put up your shelves.
Absolutely. I've got an excuse for life. Team news coming into it. So Decore's overcome appendicitis, which is very painful. I can tell you from experience.
I've never had it, but I gather it's no fun.
Well, I don't have one anymore because of that.
No, right. Well, you wouldn't.
So if he has suffered that, I mean, so over that fair play, because it does take it out of you. Well, I can't imagine he'd be fully fit.
How long ago did he have it, I suppose?
I suppose so,
question. But yeah, he's a key player for them. He's looking at the fantasy team as I put mine together in 5 minutes yesterday.
Me too.
he looked like their key player last season, shall we say?
Yes. Chalobah, Akaka, Cleverley and Deulofeu aren't fit to play, which is good news. But Ben Foster could start, having signed from West Brom.
Yeah.
He's...
decent keeper.
Good keeper.
Experience.
Good at wasting time.
Is that his forte?
Brilliant at wasting time.
Yeah. But we've got I'm going to say we've got one of the best goalkeepers in the league. So
I don't disagree. I don't know. Yeah, we have. Absolutely. Of course, we are Andone, who, as we said earlier, because of groin injury. Esquerdo isn't fit after his World Cup involvement. Glenn Murray is fit.
Yep.
Could play. I know that Andy Naylor's put his projected team up on Twitter. That was just before we came on the show. I'll try and find that for you before we go off air. And obviously, Johan Baksh could start, could not, depending on what you feel.
Yeah, I don't think Hume will start him. That's my feeling. He'll go with March and Knockaert. But maybe, especially as they both play same side, Knockaert and Johan Baksh. I think if anyone was going to bow out, it would probably be March. But I think he'd be playing on the other side. So I think Johan Baksh off the bench to score a spectacular consolation goal.
Well, I hope he does score, because he's in my dream team. So there you go. Uh-huh. We'll go. The results are in.
Yep.
But before we read the results, let's read the results. Then we'll get your prediction on where you think we'll finish.
Yeah.
So thank you for all voting. Our poll, I know I put it up quite late this morning. 3% of you think we'll finish in the top 4.
They're on more medication than you.
They are, absolutely. 14% still optimistic, 5th to 10th.
Yeah.
4% think we're going to finish in the bottom 3. And a whopping 79% will finish between 11th and 17th. That's where my vote would be.
Yeah, same.
If I was voting.
Boring but safe. I think, as I keep saying, 12th would be amazing. 11th or 10th. Like 10th would be a kind of a dream for me, top 10 finish. 12th would be magic, because it would be our best ever season. So anywhere between 10th and 12th, I'll be so happy.
I've tried to work this out based on the teams coming up versus the teams coming down. So looking at rough strengths of squads, I think we are, if you were to compare like for like last season, I think we're going to be a place higher than we were last season.
Okay.
Based upon teams coming up, teams coming down, I actually think Fulham and Wolves are going to come in and hit the league flying this year, which doesn't mean they'll necessarily stay there, but I think that they're the two sort of teams that will come in and play without fear and probably get points when teams aren't expecting at the start of the season until the reality hits around Christmas. So they both have the potential to maybe finish above us if they get those points in hand. So yeah, I think we'll finish a place above 14th.
Do you think that Huddersfield are more likely to suffer from
Huddersfield are going down
syndrome? Yeah.
Huddersfield are going. I'm happy to. I don't even feel I'm sticking my neck out. I don't think they've recruited. I think the shock, those 9 points they got at the start of the season, kept them up, and I don't see them doing that this season. They'll still pick up points. They'll still get the odd shock result, like obviously I think they beat Man United. We all do it now, don't we? I can't see them getting those points.
That's one of the relegation slots.
Yes, Cardiff, I think are going down.
Do you?
Don't.
Some people seem to be tipping them for momentum.
It's a Neil Warnock thing, I think, for me.
Right.
It's that thing of he's brilliant in the Championship.
Yeah.
Not, and I'm surprised he's still there, because he doesn't normally stay with the club. He gets them up and goes, but
he'll probably go to a Championship club at Christmas. When Cardiff are
struggling and the team need him. So
and
Cardiff,
Allardyce or someone will come in or whoever. Pulis.
There we are. Next show's coming to the studio just in time. So Cardiff.
Not as late as we were.
No, not as late as us. The last team to go down is a toss up. It is a toss up for me. I haven't decided the third team to go down. Newcastle potentially. could be the third team to go
I
down.
got quite annoyed with pundits, punters, panellists, experts last season repeatedly referring to Newcastle as a championship side in the Premier League and sort of singing the praises of Benitez, saying that all he had to work with was a championship squad. I thought that was a bit disingenuous, given that
the same team that got relegated from the Premier League 2 years ago.
Given that they were all saying they're a Premier League squad in the Championship. Like, make your minds up. Which one are they?
Yeah, no, it's. I just think there's so much going on at that club off the field. Obviously, with Mike Ashley more interested in buying House of Fraser than running his own football club.
Out, didn't he?
Yeah, but certainly not. Yeah, maybe he had waited for the transfer window to close so he could be like, oh, I didn't have any money. Oh, yeah, I do. I spent it on this. So yeah, they're potentially those three. I'll probably be completely wrong at the end of the season.
I would love it if Newcastle went down.
There we go. Right, we're running out of time. Let's quickly go through
the women, the non-league.
The women non-league under 23s. I've got to set up the old bedding in a second. I find a non-league bit and scan through to the right bit on our thing. So, the women's team. Not much, obviously, in the way of matches, but they're getting ahead of the season. They signed a new player, Emily Simpkins, was out of contract. She's a very good player. I saw her play a couple of times last year. They won the Women's Super League 2 last year with Doncaster Rovers Bells. She's won the Women's Premier League with Nottingham Forest and appeared in the Champions League semi-final with Birmingham. She's a very, very good midfielder. That's one of 7 players they've signed that are... Yeah. It's almost like the first team, except they've not spent a lot. They've done very well. They've signed a lot of players that are out of contract that are... just players that have played at the top level, and they're going to bring a lot of experience to the squads. So,
as with the men's team, we're not mucking about.
It's very exciting. I think they're going to, as I said last week, I think they're going to cause a bit of a shock in
shock waves.
The under 23s I mentioned before had a busy week. They lost 1-0 to Haywards Heath Town in the Sussex Community Shield. I say the under 23s, it was mostly the under 18s playing, because the under 23s had a friendly the night before, which they lost to Fulham, or was it Forest? I can't remember. All the games are getting muddled in my head now. Not much really happened in the game. It was a physical encounter. But in injury time, Cashman, who looked very good, under 18s, a very good player. Lubicic, who's just coming back from injury, who is one of the under 23s. They missed 3 ridiculously good headers in injury time, which would have forced penalties. But unfortunately, they lost the showcase opener to the Sussex season. They played, however, Liverpool yesterday in the opening of the Premier League 2 and earned a good 0-0 draw. They probably should have won the game. There were debuts for Quito and Drea, and also Norman, who we signed a year ago, and we loaned him straight out to Mould. So similar to the Tau situation we'll lend out. He actually got a red card late in the game, second yellow card. But we created a lot of chances, probably should have won the game. But a good start against a good, obviously another good under-23s team. We've also been drawn, the draws out for the Checkatrade Trophy. Checkatrade Trophy. Obviously, that's an under-21s team, not an under-23s team that we've got to put in that. We've got Luton Town, MK Dons and Peterborough United in that. And now, I'm very excited.
Big build-up for the reggae bed.
Yes. Non-league time. Oh, yes. Let's, of course, we mentioned that the Bostik Premier League kicks off today. And if you're not making the trip to Watford, then our teams at home, Worthing, Whitehawk, Lewis and Burgess Hill Town. Home games in the FA Cup, Haywards Heath Town, who beat the under-23s in the Sussex Community Shield, host Lancing. And Horsham are at home to Sittingbourne. So if you fancy a bit of FA Cup action, get yourself there. Last week, Lancing beat Loxwood and then lost to Pagham. Saltdean were involved in the 2-2 thriller with Langley Wanderers before getting the best of a 5-goal thriller against Broadbridge Heath. Shoreham suffered defeat in their first game back from the SCFL before a morale-boosting 4-2 win at Loxwood in midweek. Peacehaven and Telscombe lost 3-2 to Pagham on Saturday before 2 late goals and a 2-1 win away at Lingfield. So that's the action last week. Of course, there's a new way now to watch non-league football this year, and that will be the best of Sussex football, which will be aired on YouTube from 8 p.m. It'll be available every Monday night on the Sussex Football Show.
You involved in that?
Maybe. So yeah, we're with your instant replay, we're filming most of the Sussex tips. So whenever we're at home, we will have those highlights. We're going to put them together in match of the day style. So it'll be like a 12 to 15 minute show showing the best of Sussex football. We're running out of time, so it's a very short little reggae non-league stuff. There we are. That's gone. You said goodbye. It's gone. So that's the non-league bit. I do like that little reggae bit. I like that. It's good. Right. Last thoughts ahead of the game. Where will you be listening to the game today?
Yeah, I'll be at home doing some stuff for myself, my website and so on. Yeah, just listening on the radio. So shout out to all the hardy, faithful Albion away fans who any of you are listening to this on the way there via the magic of Wi-Fi or 3G or whatever.
On the app, yeah, or on DAB if you're in the car.
DAB, yep.
Good
luck.
Obviously, we'll come in very joyous mood. We've got a massive game of Man United to preview next week.
Yeah, but we already know we're going to win that one. So
absolutely. Right. Well, thank you very much for listening to the Albion Mag Radio Show. Do get in touch with us on social media at TAM Radio Show on Facebook, Twitter, via our thread on North Stand Chat. Big thank you to our friends from Jalapeno Records, and we're going to leave you this track from Stella Marie.
One world, one love, one BTN.